Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has thrown out an application filed by President Muhammadu Buhari and INEC seeking the dismissal of a petition filed by the People's Democratic Movement and its presidential candidate Amin Habu, challenging the result of the presidential election. INEC and Buhari have, through their respective lawyers, filed separate motions seeking the dismissal of the petition on the grounds that the petitioners failed to comply with the provisions of paragraph 18, subsection 1 of the first schedule of the Electoral Act. Now, they have argued that the petitioners had violated the said provisions of the Electoral Act by failing to comply for the pre-hearing notice within 7 days after the close of pleadings. But the tribunal dismissed the case, saying the petition followed due process. The tribunal has also dismissed an application filed by a faction of the Hope Democratic Party, HDP, to withdraw the petition filed in the name of the party and its presidential candidates challenging the result of the presidential polls. Still on judicial matters, a federal high court sitting in Bari area of Abuja has voided the criminal charge brought against Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. The African People's Party and one Anas Isa Mohammed had alleged that Gbajabiamila lied under oath while filing Form CF-001 of INEC to the effect that he was never convicted of any crime. The respondents had contended that the Speaker was found guilty of professional misconduct by the State Bar of Georgia, United States of America, in 2007. Gbajabiamila, however, challenged the criminal proceedings instituted against him and applied for a judicial review at the FCT High Court. The presiding judge, Justice Othman Musa, in his judgment, quashed the criminal charge against the Speaker on the grounds that the lower court lacked jurisdiction to entertain and determine the matter. The judge further held that the allegation of disciplinary proceedings levied against him does not amount to a criminal conviction by a court of law. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ruled that a candidate cannot be disqualified from an election for failure to participate in the National Youth Service Corps scheme, and that's the NYSC. The court made this pronouncement when it struck out a suit brought against the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, by a former senator, Iyabo Anisuwolu. The pre-election suits challenged the eligibility of Abiodun over his failure to participate in the National Youth Service Corps scheme. In his judgment, M.A. Mohammed held that the NYSC Act does not make provision for the disqualification of a candidate who failed to participate in the scheme. The Supreme Court also dismissed a similar suit on Monday after Abdurrafiu Baruwa had approached it to challenge the qualification of Abiodun on the ground of failure to disclose his academic qualifications. President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated the board of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The president inaugurated 30 commissioners with Elias Mbam as the chairman. The RMAFC is the body responsible for preparing the formula for sharing revenues among the 3 tiers of government in Nigeria. They are also responsible for fixing the remuneration of political office holders, as well as monitoring the revenues accruing to the Federation account from revenue-generating agencies. At the inauguration ceremony, President Buhari called on the new board members to discharge their duties with dedication and transparency. The new chairman, Mbam, promised to task his team on seeking new ways to generate revenue for Nigeria.
As a commission, you are empowered by the Constitution to, among other things, to do the following duties: monitor the accruals to and disbursement of revenue from the Federation account. B, review from time to time the revenue allocation formulae and principles in operation and advise government on the need for any changes. C, advise the federal, state and local governments on fiscal efficiency and methods by which their revenue is to be increased. It is therefore the expectation of government that he will rapidly and systematically set to work to address all areas of your mandates in a business-like manner. Here, I would charge the Chairman and Honorable Commissioners to A, concentrate more on expanding the sources of revenue to the Federation account and other non-oil sources, including solid minerals. B, use all legal ways and means to strengthen its monitoring mechanism and block leakages of revenue from the Federation account. All relevant laws and regulations on revenue collections and remittances should be fully complied with and appropriate sanctions visited on defaulters.
We concentrate more effort on how to increase the size of the cake for allocation to the 3 tiers of government instead of struggling to share a shrinking cake. So the Commission will key into the diversification program of the federal government with a view to finding other sources of revenue that will increase the sources to the Federation account.
After days of criticism, former Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun has reacted to allegations of arms stockpiling levied against him by an online medium, Premium Times. In a statement issued by his media aide, Rotimi Durojaye, Amosu claimed that incumbent Governor Dapo Abiodun was the main supplier of some of the armored personal carriers he bought in 2012 to combat security challenges in Ogun State. The ex-governor explains that he handed over the arms to the police on May 28th in order to make a proper account of assets before he left office and to ensure that they do not get into the wrong hands. Amosu also denied handing over any AK-47 rifle to the police, as been insinuated in some quarters. He however noted that security gadgets, including 13 units of armored personal carriers, the 1,000 units of AK-47 rifles, 2 million rounds of ammunition, 1,000 units of bulletproof vests, and 500 bulletproof helmets were purchased by his administration to equip the police. An investigation committee in Imo State says officials of the Rochester Okorocha administration looted government property worth 50 billion naira. The committee, set up by newly sworn-in governor of the state, Emeka Ihedioha, made the allegations after investigations. Chairman of the committee, Jasper Undubaku, said some of the government properties recovered include 279 Prado SUVs, 27 payloaders, and 27 lorries. Addressing journalists in the state, Undubaku said 67 vehicles were taken away from the state government house in Orori, while all past commissioners in the state went away with the vehicles in their various ministries. He added that 150 transformers bought by Okorocha were also taken away by the government officials, while items such as cutlery, plastic seats, and generator sets used by former commissioners were not left out. No fewer than 29 people have been reportedly killed in 2 separate attacks by Boko Haram insurgents in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Though security forces are yet to confirm the incident, eyewitnesses say the gunmen killed 20 farmers in the first attack, which happened at a settlement in Ngangam, while 9 others were killed around Damas town. Meanwhile, troops of Operation Habin Kanama have killed 24 suspected bandits in Kaduna, Kano, and Niger State. At a press briefing in Kaduna, General Officer Commanding 1 Mechanized Division, Major General Farouk Yahya, said 61 bandits were also arrested during the operation, while 20 kidnapped victims were rescued by the military. No fewer than 12 people were injured after a 3-story building collapsed in Fagba area of Lagos. It was gathered that the building, which was under construction, collapsed on Wednesday night, leaving many people trapped under the rubble. Now, the victims have now been rescued and taken to hospital for treatment. The Chief Executive Officer of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, who visited the site, confirmed that no life was lost during the incident. Screening for 210,150 candidates shortlisted for recruitment into the constable cadre of the Nigeria Police Force will commence on July 1st and end on July 28th. This was announced by the Police Service Commission (PSC) on Thursday. The exercise, according to the Police Service Commission, will be done across 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). In a statement on Wednesday, Ikechukwu Ani, the Commission's spokesman, said the applicants have been contacted via their email addresses with information containing the venue, dates, and requirements for the screening. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier approved the recruitment of police constables to beef up the strength of the force. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, is asking the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court to designate judges to conduct a monthly inspection of detention facilities of agencies of the federal government. Falana made the appeal in a letter addressed to the Justice Adamu Abdul Kafarati. According to him, scores of people are being detained by various security agencies, particularly the Nigerian Armed Forces. Falana said the Nigerian Armed Forces has thousands of Nigerians in detention facilities, including underground cells, and some of the detainees have been held incommunicado in dehumanizing detention conditions for over 3 years without trial. He says the monthly inspection will help end the illegal detention of criminal suspects and political detainees across Nigeria. Residents of communities in Mero, Olota, Abulegba, and Ojokoro areas of Lagos State have staged the protest against the rising cost of electricity. Gathered at the Kerja Electricity Distribution Company, IEDC, in Hausa, the protesters appeal for the immediate distribution of prepaid meters without charge. They say the march became necessary following what they described as exploitation by the power company.
It was about 280 communities, but today we found out that we in the Aziz about 54 communities now. We join hands together. That is undertaken in Abulitelo. About 53 communities are involved now that are demanding for this prepaid meter issue. The other time they came to us, they were telling us that if we need a prepaid meter, we should pay 100,000 naira before they can give us prepaid meter. And we told our people they should not pay kobo, since the federal government says they should provide the prepaid meter without payment.
If you recharge 2,000 on a prepaid meter in a month, you use it for 6 months. Presently, a flat is given 8,000. Estimated billing, which is illegal. This has been driven by the House of Assembly. So all these things is just you are exploiting people, you are ripping people off their pockets and whatnot, and this is just, inhuman. How will we continue?
We want to pay for what we consume. After all, the banks did not ask us to pay for ATM before they giving it to us. The petrol stations didn't ask us to pay for dispenser before they fix it. If we are truly Nigerians and we are honest, please, we are begging everybody that is concerned, all the authority, give us prepaid meter. It's about time.
You're still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us.
I have my ups and downs, just like anybody else. Maybe more than anybody else. Nobody told me it would be this hard. I wasn't prepared for this. I am completely tired of all that's happening to me. I think it's time to end my life. I mean, is it the man that wants to get down with me before giving me a job? Or the exams that I've been writing 5 times without yielding any positive result? For real, I hate being in this messy world. I am not one to give in to hardship. Oh, you think I'm ready to lose hope? Nah, it's not time to stop fighting. I chose to be happy and be intentional about it. I have the power to say, this is not how my story ends. Taking my life is not an option. When I feel like giving up, I just remember the reason why I held on for so long, and I remember that suicide doesn't end the chances of life getting worse. Rather, it eliminates the possibilities of it ever getting any better.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came out with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
You're welcome back. Now, there are 60 million unbanked people in Nigeria, and we see the Nigerian Senate and the NDIC partnering to fix that. We have Oyin Adekunle to tell us more.
Yes, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says the NICE Assembly is committed to providing a healthy environment for financial institutions in Nigeria. Lawan made the pledge while hosting the management team of the National Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC. The NDIC team was led by its managing director, Umar Ibrahim, who urged players in the financial sector to collaborate to position Nigeria as Africa's economic giant.
This National Assembly, the National Assembly, will work with the institution, the NDIC, and indeed all government institutions to ensure that this economy is an economy that will provide an all-inclusive environment for people to grow, to prosper. And I believe that NDIC has an important role to play. Nigerian Insurance, Agricultural Insurance Corporation needs to be at its best. I have no idea how far it is funded, but I believe that in the past, it has not been able to provide the services that it is mandated to provide. So on the whole, we have to work together to ensure that the banking sector provides facilities and opportunities for not only those money bags, but to those also who are disadvantaged. Those peasant farmers, unfortunately, they may not have collaterals, but we have to encourage them, we have to empower them. This country needs not only to achieve full security, but also have security of property and lives.
We have a lot of statistics that indicate clearly that about 60 or so % of Nigerians do not have access to finance. We are all aware of this. People travel to hundreds of kilometers before they reach a branch. There are local governments and communities that do not have a single branch. They do not have ATM machines. They do not have nothing. And you cannot achieve growth without some kind of sustainable financial inclusion. We are working hard to ensure that the situation is changed.
The 100 billion naira bonds offered by the federal government on Wednesday, June 26, was oversubscribed by over 60.13 billion naira. Total subscription received from investors for the bonds was 160.13 billion naira, comprising 39.34 naira for 12.75% FGN April 2023 bonds, 60.30 billion naira for 14.55% FGN April 2029 bonds, and 60.49 billion naira for 14.80% FGN April 2049 bonds. Recent trends in the bonds show that investors were embracing the long-term bonds, as the recent 5, 10 and 30-year bonds had 43, 58 and 62 total bids respectively. The auction results added that 19, 22 and 30 bids were, however, successful for the 3 bonds allotted. Oil prices fell to around $66 a barrel on Thursday, weighed down by concerns over whether the G20 summit will produce a breakthrough on trade and perceptions that supply is ample despite prospects for continued OPEC curbs. Brent crude futures were down 11 cents at $66.38, while U.S. crude fell 26 cents to $59.12. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday a trade deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping was possible this weekend, but he prepared to impose U.S. tariffs on more remaining Chinese imports if both countries fail to reach an agreement. After the G20 summit ends on Saturday, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and allies, including Russia, will meet on Monday and Tuesday to discuss an extension of production cuts to support prices. Investors and dealing members will begin to pay value-added tax for transactions carried out on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. This is due to the expiration of the value-added tax order of 2014. During her tenure as coordinating Minister for the Economy and Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala had exempted VAT deductions from commissions and on the traded value of shares, among others. At the time, Okonjo-Iweala said the purpose for the exemption was to encourage investments in the Nigerian capital markets. VAT is a type of consumption tax placed on a product at every stage of processing value addition. The cost is usually paid by the consumer. The order, which was as a result of the powers conferred on the Minister of Finance in Section 38 of the Value Added Tax Act, was to be effective for 5 years. The 5-year period lapses on July 25. Stock Market Review is up next after this break. The first day of gain in the week on a Thursday. Now that's a new record given the figures we've been seeing in the past few weeks on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The bulls made a surprise return today, reversing losses of 3 days to close the fourth day of trading this week with 140 points higher, which saw the all-share index appreciating actually to 0.47%. The market capitalization also appreciated by 62 billion naira to stand at 13.109 trillion naira. Today, some equities actually outperformed. For instance, we see Nestle and Seplat on the one hand. Nestle on the one hand actually moved from the worst performing stocks yesterday to the top gainers chart. And moving on, we also see that Seplat is on that chart. Seplat continued its winning streak from previous session. Also, we see that International Breweries and Cement Company of Northern Nigeria made their way to the top gainers chart. And just like Nestle, we see that Cement Company of Northern Nigeria also made its way, reversing losses. It was on the losers chart yesterday, and it is now gaining owing to, see, it was 13.2 naira, 12 naira previously, and now it's making gains of 13.2 naira. And moving on, we see the top losers chart. Conversely, some stocks that drove the market gains yesterday sadly could not sustain their gains. As at yesterday, Nigeria Breweries and Forte Oil, and of course, when we move forward, we also see that Berger Paints PLC is also on this chart. They were actually the market drivers leading the pack of gainers, and from what we see here, that has changed. All three equities, joined by Okomu Oil, made a combined loss of 30.82%. And in summary, yes, in summary, a little over 300 million units of shares valued at 5.032 billion naira were traded in 4,187 deals. And onto foreign markets. Yes, the FTSE edged higher as investors react to reports about what to expect from the meeting between the Chinese and U.S. presidents over the weekend at the G20 summit. FTSE is, however, on the reverse, we see, and Nikkei rose also on hopes for progress in trade talks at G20. It's over to you, Annette, now for the rest of the news.
And you said it all indeed on your stock markets in the NSC, obviously recovering its losses from the past few days. Now, moving on, in Ethiopia, the national movement of the Amhara, the major opposition party in the country, says more than 50 of its members have been arrested by the ruling government. The arrests follow the killings of the army chief who was reportedly killed by his bodyguard in the coup attempt. 4 other officials were also killed in the attempted coup, and funerals were held on Wednesday. The police, however, revealed that the ringleader of the coup, Brigadier General Asimni Sige, was shot dead on Monday. Now, hundreds of firefighters are battling wildfires in Spain's Catalonia region as temperatures soar to 40 degrees Celsius across parts of Europe. Officials say the fires are the worst in the region for 20 years and may spread quickly. Spain, France and Italy are experiencing extreme heat, and on Wednesday, Germany, Poland and Czech Republic saw the highest ever June temperatures. Meteorologists say hot air drawn in from North Africa is responsible, and they also warn that the heat is expected to rise further in many countries over the next 3 days. In sports, hosts Egypt have qualified for the round of 16 in the ongoing AFCON tournament after defeating DR Congo 2-0. Goals from El Mohandi and Mohamed Salah helped the North African country proceed to the knockout stage. Egypt, winners in 2006, 2008 and 2010, and beaten by Cameroon in the 2017 final, beat Zimbabwe in the opening match and are top of Group A. The Super Eagles beat Guinea 1-0 in the opening match on Wednesday to become the first nation to make it into the knockout phase. Now, FIFA has opened disciplinary proceedings against Cameroon following their Women's World Cup last 16 loss to England in Valenciennes. The African team is being probed for misconduct, offensive behavior and fair play breaches. Sunday's game was marred by Cameroon's reaction to 2 video assistant referee decisions and by poor challenges. The Cameroon players staged an on-field protest after England's second goal, scored by Ellen White, was awarded by VAR and seemed unwilling for a time to restart the match. And that's it from here on News Now. Many thanks for watching. Do log on to our website at www.tv360nigeria.com for more. I am Annetta Felix. Bye for now.